cause the liberal legislators in this state to look to this county and use it as an example of changing the law and reducing our rights. So as sheriff, I will be as liberal as possible on CCWs, and good cause can be interpreted in many ways, but we still have to follow the state law in this county.
Thank you. I offered up in my last response that I would absolutely support a shall issue legislation in California. I think, as was pointed out here before, there's a lack of consistency in California, and that just breeds confusion and part of the reason that we're here tonight. But what I want to say is to expand on the 40 states that we do have that have shall issue clauses and licenses, and crime is down in those states. I would also ask that the comment was made about prisoner release. Recently I wrote a letter to the editor. Hopefully you read that letter about prisoner release, because it really is a danger and it really is good cause. And it's something that we need to be fearful of within our communities here. So with that, I answered that question in my previous response, and we can move on to the next one.
Okay, good. We're going to go ahead and move forward. Thank you. And we'll start with you, George, on this one. And if you're comfortable, what do you think about 30-second responses for the next set of questions, so we can rattle through these more quickly and get more of them answered? Are you okay with that? Okay. Here you go, George. The number or ratio of crimes committed by someone with a CCW. Do you have any information regarding that?
Yeah, my reading on the subject is it's virtually nil. People with CCWs don't commit crimes. It's a fact.
Thank you, Bob.
I have not heard of one permit in this county being revoked in the current time. In the last year, I have not heard of one being revoked. Florida is a great example. They issued over 1.5 million permits, and less than 1.5% of those permits have been revoked, and their crime rate has dropped dramatically. There's the statistics.
Yeah, the numbers prove themselves in Texas and Florida and Vermont. It drops the crime rate. It works.
The ratio is zero. The Assembly Public Safety Committee recently said that in their analysis of the Assembly bill I just told you about, requiring California to go to a shell state. Our own District Attorney Vern Pearson echoed those same sentiments just a couple of weeks ago before the Republican Central Committee. There is no evidence that the crime rate goes up. In fact, just the opposite way. When you have a shell issue state, the crime rate goes down. That's what I would support.
Obviously it's zero, and to address Mr. Lucas' comment is whether or not I would violate state law. Absolutely not. The question was, do you support it wholeheartedly?
Your question, Ted, was how many people possessing a concealed weapons permit?
Yeah, the number or ratio of crimes committed by someone with a CCW.
In my experience, my 30 years experience as a law enforcement officer, I'm not aware of any. So that's a quick answer.
Well, I can tell you my experience too. It's either very, very low or nil. And as I look through here, and I see a lot of friends here, they're not criminals. And I think it's because the reason is because when you're carrying a weapon and you're thinking about self-defense, you're not committing crimes. You're not out looking for yourself to do that. You're looking for other people and the dangerous behavior in other people. So I would imagine it'd be almost nil.
Thank you, Craig. I just wanted to let you know that this forum is being recorded and will be placed on www.edcgop.com. That's www.edcgop.com. In case you have to leave early, watch the entire program. Thank you. These are a couple of questions of the public that came in earlier. I want to pull from that also. Next question is, with the potential of up to 40,000 inmates to be released from the California Department of Corrections, has your positions on licenses been affected? are you more likely to lean towards a shall issue policy?
That's kind of an easy one, but let me answer it because everybody else is saying, no, that Craig did such a good job. No, I'll answer for everybody. Of course it does. There's about 700 people. Of that 65,000, somewhere around 700 plus are the folks that would get released to El Dorado County. That would be an awful big influx. It would be, the prediction is it's 700 over 3 years, but it's still 700. So of course it does.
Absolutely, it does. And also, I mean, personal protection, that certainly is a reason to adopt a policy for personal protection. Also, as I indicated earlier, none of us have a crystal ball. We absolutely don't know what confronts us from day to day. We live in a rural area, as I alluded to, an ATM machine, any number of things. However, the 40,000 of people certainly would be a reason, and one more piece of ammunition to support a shall issue.
The release of inmates does have an effect, but however, my stance has been the same for 32 years of law enforcement. It will not change. It's still exactly the same.
I agree with Larry and the other candidates up here who are supportive of issuing gun permits as sort of a shall issue as we define. I will add to that, there's not only just 40,000 prisoners about to be released from state prison under the governor's plan, or governor's idea, but there's also some 6,000 prisoners that will be released back to local custody, sheriff custody, under a bill being opposed by members of our community, members of our legislature, that would release those people back to our community, potential felons, potential people who are going to cause us additional crimes and have to worry about.
I think the question was, would the early releases affect my decision on where I stand as sheriff? No, my decision is the same.
I agree, although the release of those prisoners may impact our crime situation in the county, it wouldn't impact my decision to issue a permit.
Thank you. I addressed this before. It does affect it. It affects all of us. You need to be concerned about it in addition to CCWs, but as well as our personal safety and crimes committed in our county.
Great, okay, thank you. All right, our next question is, will you support the issuance of CCW license to an honorably discharged military veteran?
I don't think that's a real question. I think we pretty much have all answered that question in terms of we would issue to qualified applicants. And I personally am extremely grateful to our military service and our people serving over we owe a great debt of gratitude to all of our military and all of our law enforcement as well. Thank you.
I believe that the training and experience that one possesses in terms of the use of firearms is definitely on the positive side of good cause. And people who have the most training and background are the ones that respect the weapons the most and make good CCW applicants.
Johnson.
Absolutely.